That's it. Once upon a time, when I was about 19, I had a Paeta 1851 Navy in 36 caliber. And I wanted to try and use some smokeless loads through it. So what I did is I bought a Howells Old West conversion cylinder for it. And I got some 38 special brass and I loaded up some hollow base wad cutters. As at the time, everybody said, oh, yeah, you could use the cartridge conversion in 36, but you got to use a hollow base wad cutter because it'll expand the sides of that projectile and grip that rifling like a mini ball. And if you're wondering why that's necessary, is the bore on 36 caliber cap and ball revolvers is generally 372 to 375, give or take. And the projectiles, the 38 caliber projectiles that we're used to using, measure around 358 or 359. So you need the hollow base wad cutter so it'll expand and grip that rifling. And so I tried that with a really light charge of smokeless. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was 20-something years ago. But I do remember it was bullseye. And I got abysmal accuracy. They were keyhole, and it just did not perform like the commercials at all. And so it really turned me off of 36 caliber conversions for a long time, right up until recently when we tested it in Jim's 1851 Paeta with an Old West conversion cylinder. And we used the same hollow base wad cutters that I used back then, 148 grain Hornady hollow base wad cutters, with a black powder charge. It was, I think, 13 or 14 grains. Don't quote me. I'll look. And it performed great. It grouped pretty well. No signs of bullet wobble, keyholing, or nothing. But one of the things that I wanted to try ever since my first bad experience when I was a teenager are heel-based projectiles. Now, heel-based projectiles are finicky. They're just a little bit of a chore. But a heel-based projectile is the same outside diameter as the cartridge, much like a 22. In fact, the only examples of heel-based cartridges that is still used today are 22 longs and long rifles. There might be some other ones, but certainly 22 is prevalent. One of the things about heel-based cartridges, projectiles rather, is not a lot of projectile actually sits in the case. In fact, it's pretty minimal. The majority hangs out the end, which is opposite of something modern like a 38 special or almost anything that we're used to seeing. One of the issues with that is the lube groove is exposed. Now, that's kind of a bummer. In fact, I would say it's one of its biggest cons, because it's going to pick up dirt and crunchies. You can't just have a few of them in your pocket. You're going to get lint on there, and that's probably going to affect your accuracy and maybe a few other things. So what we're going to do for this test is we're going to try and replicate the original 38 center fire conversion cartridge that would have been used in something like this. If it was 1870 and you had an 1861 Navy that had been converted to a cartridge, it would have either been 38 center fire or 38 rim fire. Nowadays, we would call it 38 short Colt or 38 long Colt, which is a little bit different, but those names didn't come around until the end of the 19th century. So for this, we're going to use 38 short Colt cases and these heel-based projectiles that I bought from Old West bullet molds. Now, they weigh 145, 146 grains, and as far as I could tell, the original 38 centerfire, or short Colt, if you will, were 125 to 140, depending, with 14 or 15 grains of powder. This is about as close as I can get it. Now, we're going to use a 1cc dipper for this, and we're going to use 4F. And it's right about 14.5, and you can see that that comes right up to the top. But that's not that big of a problem because, again, we have minimal amount of compression because there's only that much that sits inside the cartridge. The trouble with heel-based projectiles when it comes to assembling them in a cartridge is crimping them. But Old West Bullet Molds has this crimp set that works really, really swell. And all it is this 38 factory crimp die and this piece here that sits in the shell holder. And it's got a set screw, and you can thread it up or down, depending on if you're doing short or long. And all that does is allow you to get the cartridge up into the die so you could actually reach the crimp, which works out really, really bitchin'. So the last step for these is lubing them. Now, if I'm making more than 50 or something, I'll typically dip them. When I'm doing less than 50, I'll just do them like this. Usually that's just as fast as opposed to setting up all my other stuff and waiting for it to melt and then all that. So I just do them like this. I find it works just fine.
Sorry, I neglected to mention that before I lube them, I check them in whatever firearm I'm going to use them in to make sure that they all chamber easily. Every once in a while, you come across one that's a little rough, and it's usually due to the crimp, but I just check them anyway just to make sure.
Now, I do have a few different loads that we're going to try in this thing. One of them are these 38 short Colts with 1.6 grains of Trail Boss, and we're using that hollow base wad cutter, but we only have it seated about halfway. And I wanted to try this specifically because somebody told me that, hey, just because you're using a hollow base wad cutter, or any wad cutter for that matter, doesn't mean you have to seat it flush. And I thought, well, okay, that's interesting. Let's give it a try. So those are 1.6 grains of Trail Boss, which is probably pretty close to what I was using back when I was a kid. I also have 357s, and these are 14.5 grains with the hollow base wad cutter, and these are seated flush. And of course, we have our heel-based 145 grain, 14.5 grains of powder to try. So what I want to see is really if the heel-based projectiles perform that much better compared to the hollow base wad cutters. So here it goes. Look, hey, I got a couple of these. These are 38 long Colts, but they're not hollow based or anything. So let's try these through here and see how they do at, I don't know, 20 yards or so.
Okay.
Just to see if they keyhole.
All right.
Or if they look like they're gonna keyhole.
They start wobbling.
Yeah. Which, these are not hollow base, so these are literally everything wrong. So we're gonna shoot at the bottom left. I believe that's a 2 of clubs. And we'll just see if they keyhole. Which, I'm guessing they probably will. Oh, that was adorable, wasn't it?
That's so cute.
I think that's it. Well, let's go see.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
that first shot was tumbling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could clearly see.
And your second was.
You clearly see that one's going in there sideways.
That one looks like it was only wobbling.
Yeah, just kind of out of that way angle. But that one, clear as day, is
sideways.
Sideways.
So is this one.
Okay, let's try the hollow base smokeless ones. All right. So here's our 38 short Colt. This is 1.5 grains of Trail Boss with 148 grain hollow base wad cutter. But as you can see, we don't seat it all the way in there. Now, we tried these in the backyard, and we saw the bullets, and they looked like they was catching some rifling, even with a really, really wimpy charge of 1.6 grains of Trail Boss. So, we're at 15 yards. We're going to shoot at the bottom right, and we're going to see if they keyhole like those flat-based ones we just tried. That is adorable.
That looks like a key.
Well, that had an average of 457 feet per second.
You loaded 6. I think you only got 4 shots.
It says 6 shots.
Oh.
Yeah, thought so.
Okay then.
Well, let's go have a look. Oh, it does have one keyhole.
The other
Oh,
5 did
okay.
okay.
Boy, you know.
Well, actually put your finger in there. Did it actually keyhole?
Yeah. Not flat, but
Yeah.
it's definitely
Wobbling.
Okay, well, you had one flyer out of there, I get. Well, okay, maybe that one, but
Could be worse.
that right there's not so bad.
5 out of 6 ain't bad.
Huh. Okay, well, keep in mind, that's a super wimpy charge.
Yeah, if we had a little bit more pressure.
Yeah. I
it'd
wonder,
probably open up enough.
yeah. Okay, well.
All right.
So these are 357 cases with 15 grains of 4F Osage orange and that 148 grain wad cutter seated all the way down. So we'll see how it does with these. See if a little bit more gumption doesn't get it to expand and operate a little bit better.
More betterer.
Yes, more betterer. Okay, we're gonna shoot at the top left now. .807. .850. .858. .812. .859. .854. So that averaged .840. That definitely has some more gumption.
I don't see anything that looks like a keyhole from here.
You know what? I don't either. Let's go have a look.
Solid. Punching holes. Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That looks bitchin'. Those don't appear to be fishtailing or keyholing at all.
Nope, those are just punching holes.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, anyway. Wow.
That's good.
Okay. Okay.
Just needs a little bit more gumption.
Well, you know, black powder has a obturation force that's better than smokeless and a lot of other powders,
Yeah.
a lot of other loads. But even with those 357 cases, 15 grains, that's compressed. There's a lot of compression going on. But I mean, man, you're 850 on average about, moving 148 grain projectile, and that's pretty good. I bet if you benched that, rested that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right on. All right, so here's our heel-based 38 center fire cartridges. We're shooting at the top right. .826. .821. .798. .809. .813. I think that's it. Now I got one more. 778. So that averaged 808.
Not bad.
And from here, they don't look as tight as those
The wad cutters.
as hollow-based wad cutters we just tried. Let's go have a look.
All right. Well, none of them appear to be keyholing.
No, they don't. But it doesn't look all that great.
Yeah, the spread is worse.
Well, I got more of them. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Let me just mark them and let's see. Yeah. They're certainly not keyholing, though.
No, they don't make a nice bitchin' hole like that.
No, the wad cutters just...
That looks like a hole punch.
And it looks like they're moving square.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
All right. Let's try again. Did you mark those?
I did.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Hmm.
Was that all of them?
I think so.
Oh, way to go, you dick. You didn't have the chronograph on.
Oh. How's it look?
Yeah, you know,
Let's go see.
I've seen worse. I had one, after the first shot, it was a little sticky, but after that, it loosened up and ran fine. Well, let's go have a look at that.
Yeah. Nah.
Man, I'm spraying them all over the place.
Still flying all over.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Dude, wad cutters for the win.
Well, I don't know. It sure seems like those wad cutters are really where it's at. Let me try some more of those. I still got a few of those.
Yeah.
Let me mark these and we'll shoot at this one again.
All right.
So we've switched back to our 357 with 15 grains and the wad cutters because so far that seems to have given us the best performance. So we're going to go back to the top left card. I forget what it is.
9 of clubs.
9 of clubs, thanks. Okay, here we go.
Dude,
I think we got a winner.
I can tell from here.
Man,
I can tell from here, man. Freaking hollow base wad cutters for the win. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No keyholing.
Wow.
Nice tight group.
That really is interesting. Okay, just to try and give these a fair shake, I want to try it one more time. I'm going to clean it, and I want to rest it just to see if maybe I'm yanking these. I mean, I know I'm a lousy shot, but I'm just offhanding that, and that's pretty damn good for me. But those are just all over the map, man.
Yeah. They're worse than the
and those are ones. This is the right bullet for the bore.
Yeah, and they're just as bad as the ones that are keyholing.
That's why I want to try it again.
Okay.
Let me just try it again.
Okay, let's do it again.
Because man, that is working.
Yeah, working great.
One more try. One more try with the heel based. This is our heel based bullets. I've cleaned it. And I've applied some lube to the chamber mouths. We'll just see if that helps. And I'm going to rest it on the bedside here. And we'll see what we get. So we're shooting at the bottom right, huh?
Correct.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right.
Okay, let's have a look.
That's much better. That's
2, 3,
much
4,
better.
5, 6. Holy cow! That's what I was looking for. Dang.
Lube.
Okay, let's do it again. We'll try this one.
Okay.
Because, man, that's bitching.
That's totally acceptable. That's right up there with the hollow base wads.
Yeah, even if you want to not count that one. Holy cow.
Yeah, good.
Man. All right, let's do that again.
All right.
We'll try the 2 this time.
2 of clubs.
Okay. Well, that went so well, we're going to try it again. And this time we're going to shoot at the bottom left card. Okay.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that went from that's not worth the time to
Yeah, that'll work.
pretty respectable.
Yeah.
But boy, I tell you what, I still think
I think the wad cutters are the best bang for the buck.
well, I mean, we're getting tighter groups here, but this was offhand.
Yeah.
So I imagine if I rest it, those will probably look better. So I have 3 of the 357 wad cutters left, so we're just going to put them up there on the top left and see what happens.
All right.
That's it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Boy, not bad.
It's pretty.
I was hoping to have them a little bit closer, but okay. So it appears, if I could try and sum it up out here, that if you smear a whole bunch of lube on the chamber mouths like you would if it was a cap and ball revolver, if you're a heathen, that is. You can get pretty decent groups with those hollow base. I'm sorry, the heel based. But the hollow based ones, if you have a stiff, stout enough charge, you could get pretty decent accuracy too, I would say.
Yeah.
So we started off there with just a couple of 38 specials loaded with 158 grain flat based bullets. Low power, low pressure, and they keyholed and shot exactly like I would expect them to do, just to make sure I didn't get the 161 Navy that's going to perform well with the wrong size projectile. The 38 short Colt with the 1.6 grains of Trail Boss, I had one keyhole, and that to me is enough to show that they're not going to be reliable. Maybe if we up the pressures, we up the powder charge, maybe it will expand it enough. We did recover a couple of projectiles from that load, and you can see that it does have rifling on it, but up at the top half, the exposed half, not so much, only on a small portion of it. So I imagine it's probably going down the bore, touching like that. Either way, not reliable enough for me. We were really impressed with the 357 loads. Those shot really well and, man, punched beautiful hole punch holes through that target. Reasonably accurate, especially offhand. I was really happy with that. As for our 38 center fire loads, kind of mixed results at first. It wasn't until I cleaned the bore and applied some lube to the chamber mouths like I would if it was a cap and ball revolver, where it started to shoot really respectable. Also, I bench pressed it, and I tried it with the other ones too, and that helped a lot. Okay, I will do more bench rest work, I promise. One of the things that I always get a kick out of about the lube versus no lube thing is a lot of the hardcore cap and ball guys, the historically accurate guys, will yell and pitch a fit and fight you if you use any grease or lube on the chamber mouths of your cap and ball revolver. You don't need to do that. That's not historically accurate. Sam Colt himself said you're not supposed to do it that way. Okay. But then, when it comes to a black powder cartridge, oh yeah, you got to buy special bullets that have big, fat, wide lube grooves. You got to use special lube. You got to use a lube wad and also have special bullets. The more lube, the better when it comes to a black powder cartridge. What's the difference between this particular load in this cap and ball revolver between the cartridge and the cap and ball version? Both use 15 grains or so. Both use the same projectile. You could use that projectile in a cap and ball revolver. It's much like a conical that you'd get from Arizgon bullet molds or even Lee. What's the difference? The self-contained cartridge aspect, I think, is about the only difference. The powder charge is the same. Even the projectile is the same. So other than it having a cap versus a primer and a brass cartridge versus a cap and ball chamber, nothing. I don't see the difference. You could say that, oh, well, being in a brass cartridge, it's going to burn more complete and more efficient and all of that than the cap and ball. You have gas leakage out of the cap, out of the front, out of all that kind of stuff. So it's not going to burn as clean and as efficient. But if you were going to argue that, I would say that that would be more grounds to need more lube on the cap and ball side than you would the cartridge side. Maybe I'm just looking for a fight. So I couldn't get it to perform well until I started greasing it. I think that this is one of the downsides to heel-based projectiles is the lube groove is exposed. And I think that's not so great. Maybe it was a fluke, maybe it was a coincidence, but it wasn't until I started applying lube to the outside on the chamber mouths, like I would with a cap and ball, that I started to shoot respectable. And I thought that was pretty respectable as well. So is it necessary? Do you have to run heel-based projectiles? Well, based on this particular test, I would say no. The hollow-base wad cutters seem to do just as good, if not better. And since you have more compression, we got some extra velocity. I think it was 800 versus 840, something like that. I'll have to look at my phone. Do I have it on my phone? Where's my phone? The 357 with 15 grains of 4F averaged 840 with a max spread of 51 and shot really damn good. The 38 centerfire averaged 808 with a max spread of 48. So you got 210 foot-pounds of energy versus 232 foot-pounds of energy. I didn't seem to have the issue where I started to lose accuracy with the hollow-base wad cutters like I did with our 38 centerfire. Maybe that's a coincidence, not quite sure. Because I didn't have to apply any lube to the chamber mouths with the 357 hollow base like I did with the heel base. Again, maybe coincidence. If I could sum it all up, I think it just is going to require more tests and maybe testing it in a different firearm. Now, we did try 38 long Colt cases with the same heel-based projectiles in the 1894 Colt a couple months ago, and that was inconclusive, I guess to say the least, because it shot bad with everything we tried. It shot bad with hollow-based wad cutters, with smokeless and black powder. It shot bad with heel-based projectiles with smokeless and black powder. It just shot bad no matter what. And I think it's because the cylinder lockup on that thing is really sloppy. So I think it's the firearms fault. I'm sure I have something to do with that as well, but you know, even bench resting and all that. Now we did film all that stuff, but it went so bad I didn't bother making a video on it because it just didn't work well at all, which is why we did the heel-based cartridges in the 61 Navy, because I thought either I'm fucking up really bad or this firearm has a problem. So there. So, as usual, folks, if you thought this video didn't suck, do me a favor and hit the like button, consider subscribing, and if you did think it sucked, go make your own damn video.